Welcome to Gloria's Cafe, starring Gloria Mellman.
Welcome everyone to Miss Gloria's Cafe. Today we'll be doing a blackened tofu recipe. Tofu, you're probably thinking, that has no flavor, but this particular recipe will really be exciting and you will totally love it. Okay, so let's get started. So first let's prepare, make sure we have everything that we need in the kitchen that we'll need to make our tofu, blackened tofu. Okay, so we need a skillet, non-stick skillet, okay? If you don't have one, you can always add a little bit of olive oil. We're gonna get our ingredients that we'll need, our condiments, and I'm gonna show you, and we've cut the tofu already just to save time, but what we'll do is I'll show you exactly what you'll need for the recipe. So first and foremost is our tofu, of course. I specifically like this particular brand. It's called an Soya Organic Super Firm Tofu. They sell other brands, but this one really works very nicely. It cooks really well. These are the different condiments that we'll be using today. Paprika, black pepper, lemon pepper, basil, pink salt, ginger, and then of course we have our glazes and our sauces that you can use. And you can pretty much, those are up to you depending on your flavors and what you'd like to try. And you know, you can change it up. And sometimes it's just a little bit of trial and error and it will still work with all the different spices. Okay, so as I've said, I've cut up the tofu. Now with tofu, a lot of people think tofu has a lot of moisture, a lot of excess water. And some people, what they'll do is they'll take the tofu and press it with a paper towel and want to squeeze the water out. With this particular recipe, you don't need to do that. So what I've done is I've sliced the tofu already in steak-like slices, not too thin, hearty slices. And then what you want to do is you want to start working on each of your condiments. So we started with the paprika, and what we want to do is we want to use each one of these on one side of the tofu, okay? So I missed a spot here. So we're going to do that. Make sure we got a little on everybody. Okay. Then we're going to do the pepper. Drizzle that over. That looks pretty good. Lemon pepper. And now we've already started heating up the skillet, just so you know. Medium to medium-high heat, okay? And make sure I've drizzled a little olive oil on there, okay? So you can start warming that up prior to getting started with the condiments. But it doesn't take very long for that to heat up, so we should be okay. All right, now we're gonna start with our lemon pepper. Put that on there. Okay, we're good there. Now we're gonna go with the basil. I can open this up. Okay. Okay, bear with me a second, everybody. Okay, we're just gonna do this. Since I can't get the basil open. That's okay. And drizzle across, and again, everything on one side. All right, now comes the Himalayan. Now this has a grinder to it, okay? But you can go ahead and use the salt at your discretion. If you wanted just a tad salt here, that's up to you. I'm trying to get everything covered. Okay, and then I'm going to add the ginger. Ginger's really good. I like that a lot. That's really good. Okay, so now that we've gotten all the different condiments on our tofu, we are ready to add it on into our skillet. So I'm going to reach over for my spatula. Okay, and I'm going to lay them nicely. Now just be careful as you place them down onto the skillet because it's going to be pretty hot. So just be careful, okay? Okay. And you want to place them on the skillet, the side that you placed all the condiments on, okay? You want to do a few at a time. Make sure there's enough room for all of them, okay? Just for the ones that so start off with a few and then you'll do the rest. Okay. All right. Oh, it smells good already. So about 4 minutes on each side. So we're just going to go ahead and wait here for a couple of minutes and just keep an eye on them, you know. And what you want to do is you want to get them nice and brown on each side. And you want to give it a minute or two and just check and see how that other side is looking, okay? It's still got a little bit to go. And the way that you can make this a nice dinner is you'll go ahead and make your tofu. You can add steamed vegetables. You can make it on a bed of rice. on quinoa. That's also really good. And it is filling, and it's not a heavy dish, which is nice too, which is one of the things that I like about tofu. It's filling, but it's not a very heavy dish. And the flavors are amazing because you're adding so many fun condiments to it, and the flavors just seem to really work well with each other. And again, you can improvise and sort of create your own flavors that you like. And of course, with the sauce that you add at the very end, that will really make it all come together. So, and I'm just checking to see how. So if you look here, if you look underneath, you can see it's starting to get a little bit golden brown there. And that's what we want. So we want to wait just another couple of minutes, and we'll go ahead and keep working there with that. Okay. It smells so good, everybody. You know what? And if you're scared to try tofu, really do give this one a try, because I really, like I said, I didn't think I would care for tofu, but it is so good. And it's just nice change. But if you really are not a person that wants to try tofu, you can, you can substitute this with chicken cutlets, a fish, maybe even a steak. Same idea. You're just adding your condiments and then marinating with the sauce. And again, it's the spices how you like them, and it all kind of comes together. So let's take a look and see. Oh, I think it's looking pretty good. I think we're going to be flipping them soon. All right, let's give it another minute, and then we're going to flip them over. All right. Now, when I added the condiments, it all was on one side, even though it appeared that I had done both sides, but it just was on the one side. So we're going to flip them over, I think, right about now. Oh, yeah. See how that looks nice and brown there? Oh, that looks like a good one. That's how you really want it, just like that one right there. And I know some people are a little scared with the tofu because of the texture, it's just a little almost spongy. But you know what? It really is very good. And I really hope that you give this a try, because it's it's really great. All right, and see, this is what you want them to look like. So that one right there could use probably a little more. You may want to flip that one over. But so what you really, ideally, what you want to see is something like this. Okay? Well, let's see, that other side still needs a little more to work on. So we're just going to keep cooking. And like I said, you can add steamed vegetables, maybe stir-fry vegetables, maybe quinoa, maybe on a bed of rice. But my favorite is to just use a lot of vegetables, maybe even steamed vegetables, and place the tofu right on top. It is so good. And then, of course, you can have a nice glass of wine with your dinner, or beverage of your choice, of course. And it all comes together. And see now how that's looking right there? That's what we want. We want it to look just like that. This one can still use a little more, but it's coming together. I can smell the spices coming together on the tofu. It smells really good. And if you notice, we didn't really use a lot of oil. I really used sparingly. I really didn't use a lot of oil, or you use no oil at all. That's another great thing about this recipe, so it's a lot healthier that way, too. So for all those health-conscious people out there, this is another great recipe for you. And we keep going. And again, you just go ahead. And then once you're done with these, you go ahead and place them on another plate. You put them aside, and do your next round of your other pieces of tofu. And then once you're done, you can add them to your vegetables and your rice. And then, of course, we want to marinate. So let's get to that now. So I'm going to go ahead and put them on the plate. But this is what we want. You see how nice and brown they are? That's what we want. I wish you could smell this. It smells so good. All right. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these aside. But you know what? I'm going to add the others here. And again, the side that you coated with the condiments is the side that goes towards on the heat of the skillet. Okay, so now I'm going to place this aside for a moment. And now we're going to marinate. So we're going to try, normally we've used a teriyaki, but this time we're going to use a little bit of a garlic marinade. And you can get this stuff, at Publix, Trader Joe's. So I'm just going to drizzle a little on, and then make sure you coat all pieces and both sides. Okay? All right. And then I'm going to take a little, hold on friends, a little brush maybe, and and just do that. Make sure you're covering them all up. And don't forget about your other tofu. You can flip it over. Make sure you get both sides. And if you want to add a little more marinade, you do. Totally up to you. And then once it's all done, you are ready to place your tofu on a bed of vegetables, a bed of rice, or maybe, and then of course pair with your favorite wine. And this is a great dish. And then we have the rest of our tofu. Oh, and now we're going to put them back into the skillet because we need to go ahead and just cook them just a few more minutes. But do you see how they look here? I brushed both sides with the sauce. And now I'm putting them back in. Just again, careful with the stove. If it gets pretty hot. And you've noticed I haven't added any more oil. I really added such a little bit. Just because this particular skillet is my favorite, but it does tend to stick a little more. Okay, so now you're cooking with the actual marinade on each of the pieces of tofu. What you want to do at this point, now that you've added the marinade, you want to go ahead and lower the heat just a tad, okay? And just making sure you're flipping them over. Whoop. And we're going to put a little more sauce on them just because they seem a little bit dry. So I just want to go ahead and add a little more. So I'm going to go ahead and add just a little more. You want to cover them all up and flip them over. Ooh, that smells so good. Whoops. There we go. All right, last one here. You see how nice and dark they're getting? This is really how you want it, okay? And there we go. And that's our blackened tofu. Thanks for joining us today. Bye, friends. Thank you. I hope you enjoy it. Bye.